All right, guys, welcome to week two, day two of my Hypertrophy 1.0 program. You can download the program in the description and follow along if you so choose to. But, anyways, we're starting off this particular day with the chest supported T-bar row, just like week one, day two. Today I'm going up by 5 pounds, and I noticed after reviewing my footage that I could probably be taking my sets more intensely. So just, using more intensity while I'm doing each and every exercise. And what that means to me is pushing myself harder. So I'm going to try and go to absolute failure, not just like where I feel like I can't do anymore, but really pushing beyond that point. And kind of my strategy going into this is instead of looking at each set as, oh, I have to do 12 or 13 repetitions for this set, I'm going to be looking at it as one rep each and every time. In other words, I'm not just trying to hit a rep goal. I'm trying to get like 10, 12 or 13 perfect repetitions, perfect singular repetitions. So each and every rep is basically its own set in a sense. That's just kind of how I'm going to be reframing my mindset going into this day. And I'm going to try and keep it up throughout all the days. Because anybody can do a lot of volume, but who does a lot of volume with intensity? That's where that's what really separates the good from the world. And another thing is I'm strapping up for this because I don't want my grip strength to be my limiting factor in how much weight I can do. Come on. Okay, so immediately that felt a lot better than my sets last week. And I can already tell that because I'm lightheaded after one set. I'm going to try and keep that level of intensity throughout the whole workout. Okay. Something that I've noticed to be absolutely true is that the more intensely you go on an exercise, the more rest that you are going to require. So when people are telling you, oh, like, or they ask you, like, oh, why are you resting so much in between sets? And they say, oh, I only need like 60 seconds or something like that. Well, that's probably a good indicator that they probably are not going intensely enough. They're probably not trying hard enough. And I think that a lot of people, they confuse getting your heart rate up with having a good workout. But a good workout isn't just defined by working hard. Like there's so much more that goes into having a good workout. And it also just really depends on how you're defining that. I mean, what are your goals? If your goals are to put on muscle mass in size and get in like a good shape from the outside looking in at least, then doing really like high intensity interval training where you're not resting for very long is not going to be the way to go. It just isn't. But if you are just looking to have a short workout where you sweat and you feel really good after and you feel like you really did something, then maybe that will be for you. But don't expect to get, a bunch of muscle growth out of it because that's probably not what you're going to get. You're probably just going to burn a few extra calories and it'll be good for your cardiovascular system. Frick. Of course, there are other ways to help your intensity in the gym besides just resting long enough and trying to shift your mindset completely. And those types of things include stuff like caffeine and free workout powder. I think that those are two ways where you can use a supplementation perspective in to increase the intensity of your training because caffeine is incredible. I have caffeine before all of my workouts, and without it I don't think that my intensity would be the same. Or maybe you guys are different. Some people they don't need caffeine. Another thing is music can definitely get you going. Um, Especially like if there's a song that just really gets you amped up. For me, it'd be like Nirvana or like AC/DC or something like that. But honestly, just having music in general will help you kind of put in some more intensity in the gym. Anyways, I'm going up 15 pounds on this. We're gonna try and beat my reps last time. I think I got 10 reps. You can also increase your intensity by doing a lot of warm up sets or just a dynamic warm up in general. Doing a bunch of warm ups will get your muscles moving, get them more warm, and it will just help your nervous system kind of get into the groove that it needs to have the most force output possible. So whenever you're warming up adequately, the weight should just feel easier. And I think that will help you get your mindset correct and help line up all these other variables that you need to be lined up for when you are attacking the weight um, at your best. Also, just sleeping right, eating right, having your recovery down. If your recovery isn't down and you're not like ready to go, say you're overtraining or something, then how are you expected to put in as much as you can? Like, what if I were to, say I drank last night, which I didn't, but say I did, am I expected to do the same amount of intensity? No, I mean, I can try, but I don't think that my body would be capable of the same feats that it would be if I hadn't had that training. Say I slept like 10 hours or something. Let's say I slept super good. I didn't wake up in the middle of the night or anything versus, I went out and partied. Which one is going to do better in the gym? Obviously, the one where you're well rested. What I'm trying to say is that if you guys want to take your training to the next level like I do, you need to line up all these variables adequately.
The last like 5 repetitions, we're only about halfway. But when you're taking them all the way to failure and beyond like that, you know that you got in enough stimulus for growth. It's like an insurance policy. We're gonna finish off our back with the straight arm lat pull down. So the one where you're keeping your arms straight and then you bring it down. And this one just kind of isolates the lats. That's why I like to include it at the end of the back day. Just for kind of like a little bit of extra stimulus without destroying ourselves too much. I'm going up a bit. It looks like 5 pounds, and I'm gonna try and get the same amount of reps or more. Actually, I am going to. We're gonna make it happen. As we're trying to get some progressive overload.
We had already done that, but you know, I squats. Squats. So that was, thank you. Put that other foot in where. Put it in one more. There you go. One.
Okay. Definitely got like 13 or 14 reps, which was more than 12. So I'm happy with that.
Trying to get the lift of the work of the exercises that works for my body. Okay. The month 1 and month 2. So we can like, do you want to do quads? I don't want to do ultra. Right. But you want, so what I'm saying is, do you want to do like one quad? One.
Yeah.
Put it all in one. Is it separate game? Oh, no, one more game. Okay.
10.
What's the next like one we're gonna do after? Now we're gonna go with new ones.
Oh, that was a wicked burn. Let's go. Next, we're moving our way up the back, and we're going straight to the rear deltoids, and we're gonna hit some face pulls to target those. I really like the face pull because it kind of feels like a row, but you are preferentially targeting your rear delts instead of your rhomboids or your erectors or your glutes. So that's kind of what I'm trying to get out of this one, but I like it because you're also getting more of a row in there too. So we're getting more volume for like our upper back, like our mid traps and stuff. But we're primarily targeting the rear delts, like I said. I'm going to aim for at least 12 because I want to beat last time.
Start off in body weight. I mean, no, you start off half. What you? Oh, normally, okay, yeah. And then you, how many reps do you do? I mean, I did 5. No, how many reps do you do? I would keep it as one. This is complicated. It is. Yeah, but I'm looking for, I need the basics. I need the standards and basic complications. Like what about like, if I'm just looking for like leg press, I'm gonna get all my, that's what it is. So, but if you want to do it,
Yeah, I got pretty much 20 there, so I'm definitely going to go up again because
so we got
Even though I think that this exercise is really suited for higher repetitions, I don't really want to be doing 20 reps. I like to keep it around 15 at the most. That's just kind of personal preference. I feel like the more repetitions I do, the harder it is to reach true failure. Versus if you're going heavier, then obviously it's going to be cutting you off and it's going to be easier to reach true failure. So we're going to go up 5 more pounds. Okay, up to 5 pounds. And just a little form tidbit that I like to deploy in this movement is when I'm going back, I'm trying to push my chest out and squeeze my scapula together like this, because that'll get the full contraction in your rear delt. And then I'm trying to keep my hands kind of high up and my elbow at around 45 degrees. That's how I really feel it. And then I'm obviously doing the full range of motion, so I'm going all the way out and then all the way back.
I did the one where I'm sitting. I did the one where
Even though this exercise doesn't use as many muscles as something like the chest supported T-bar row like we started with, it's still something that you can go intensely on. You may not be doing nearly as much weight as you were on the row. However, you can still take yourself to complete failure and beyond if you really push yourself. Just because an exercise, maybe like a single joint isolation exercise, like maybe like a bicep curl or something, that's an example of that. Doesn't mean that you can't actually push yourself beyond your limits each and every time. Even if you have to do more repetitions, you can still push yourself to that level. This may be just a reminder for me, or maybe you guys need to hear it too, but treat each and every rep like its own individual set. Don't think of, oh, I have to do 10 or 11 reps this set, because then you're more likely to just power through them without any regard to each and every rep along the way. Instead, I think it's a better idea to treat every rep like it's its own set, give it its fair due diligence and all that jazz. This week, we are up to 4 sets of the cable rear delt fly. So I am going to opt to do it bilaterally instead of unilaterally like I did last week, just to save some time. And I think that as long as your form is good, then you can totally get away with the bilateral movement. I would only say that you should really focus on the unilateral movements if you're experiencing some muscle imbalances. Maybe one side is a little bit stronger, maybe one side is a little bit bigger or smaller. So, I'm just going to do it this way. But by all means, if you want to do it unilaterally, just one side at a time, you can. I also think that with the unilateral variation, you can get a bit more of shoulder adduction, which can help you get a greater stretch in the movement. But I guess I could just bring my arms past like this, kind of cross them. I lowered the cables down by 1 notch because as reviewing the footage, I want less mid trap when I bring it out in lat, and I want more rear delt. And how we're going to get that is by bringing our arms higher up. So you're almost like a T when you do it instead of down here where I'm more so like using my scapula and all the muscles surrounding that to squeeze it back. I want it to really just be rear delt. So I'm bringing my arm up more perpendicular to my torso. I think that looks better. I'm gonna go a little bit lighter because I only got like 8 good reps there, and I would like some more. If you see your form suffering because you're doing too much weight and you can't get the amount of reps that you're kind of aiming for, then I think that there's no shame in going down in weight. After all, this video has been all about hitting that intensity level that we want, hitting that threshold for growth, and really just pushing yourself in the gym. Well, if the weight's too heavy, then your form is going to break down and you're not going to be able to get that intensity that you want, at least not in the same way that you want. So by lowering the weights and really just focusing in on the tempo and technique, then that intensity can really come into play and you can take it to that next level like we've been talking about. But if the weight's too high and your form is getting messed up and you're not like doing it properly, then you're just ego lifting at that point. And that gets us nowhere, I promise you. So I lowered it. That's way lighter, but that's okay. We'll just do more reps with good form. That felt a million times better. Try my hardest to keep my shoulders from rising up. So I'm trying not to use my upper traps and just trying to keep them down and just focus in on that rear deltoid. I think that every now and again I could definitely use a reminder because my form isn't always perfect, but I'm trying to treat working out and lifting in this regard more seriously, more like a sport or something. Because after all, the more that you put into it, the more that you're gonna get out. If you're just going to the gym and you're just checking it off the list and you're not actually putting some thought into it and looking at areas that you can improve on and get better at, then what are you doing? You're just getting a workout at that point. For some people, that's fine, but for others, we want to see results out of it, and therefore, I think you got to treat it like an actual skill, like something that you're going to get better at, like a final exam that's coming up or something. Okay, for bicep curls, I am going up 10 pounds from 70 to 80. I'm going to try and get at least like 10 or 12 repetitions out of each set here. And with this one, I think it's really, really easy to cheat. And we don't want to do that until the very end if we can help it. So I like to flex my glutes and tighten my core to try and prevent my spine from moving too much. Because if your spine's not moving, then you're not going to be swaying as much. All right. Next, we're going to turn around just like last time and get in some wrist curls. Set forearm in there. Frick. Okay, guys, we're finishing off week 2, day 2 with some machine bicep curls. And I know that we're at the very last exercise, so it's easy to just think, oh, I'm done. I just want to go home. And yeah, well, that's true. I do kind of want to go home at this point. I'm tired. I'm fatigued. I'm over it. However, this is when it really counts. This is when you need to be putting in your foremost intensity and tempo and technique. It's at these points at the very end when you just want to be done and that it really, really counts. So we're going to be taking these last 2 sets as seriously as we can, even though part of me does want to leave. I mean, a part of me wants to stay too. Like I love being here at the gym. This is the highlight of my day sometimes. However, it's got to reach its conclusion at some point. Let's do it. So had the thought that I'm trying to like squeeze a melon or something as hard as I can. I don't know why I thought that, but I think it kind of applies. Took the liberty of grabbing some 20-pound dumbbells so that I could do my wrist curls and extensions right here in a superset fashion. Okay, let's finish this sucker up. All right, that concludes week 2, day 2 of my Hypertrophy 1.0 program. Again, you guys can download it in the description, completely free. You don't even have to put in an email or anything. You can just download it and click use template, and then it'll save it onto your Google Docs, and you can run your own program, your own version of it. Have a good one.